I'd been living with my Aunt Agatha for a year now, ever since my parents died when a drunk driver ran a red light and killed himself as well, and I couldn't take it anymore. I had to do something, but what? I wasn't an adult. I had no money. I had no car. I didn't even have any boys' clothes. Aunt Agatha did not like males, and for that reason did not like me. As soon as I moved in with her, she confiscated almost all my belongings, including my clothes, and put me in the bedroom her daughter had used before college and marriage. It was a girl's room, with feminine furnishings and decor, done up not in pink but in a delicate mauve and cream that was just as girly, with a vanity and mirror for makeup, hair and jewelry. "I have to take you in, but I will not have a male in my house," she said. "While you stay here, you'll live as a female. Take off your clothes." "No. Why should I?" I said, backing away. Aunt Agatha was a big woman, taller and, I quickly found, stronger than me. She pulled me over her lap and spanked me until I burst into tears and begged her to stop. "Now, will you get undressed?" she said. "Yes, Aunt Agatha," I said between sobs. She let me up. Slowly, ashamedly, I took off my clothes. I stopped when all I had left were my boxers. "Those, too," my aunt said. "I know what boys look like." Blushing, I lowered my underwear. She snorted. "Well, I thought I knew what boys look like, but you are small. No facial hair, no body hair. I wonder if you've gone through puberty. It'll simplify things, actually. Let's get you dressed." From a dresser drawer she pulled out a pair of lace-trimmed white nylon panties and a matching bra. "Put these on." "Why do you want me to dress like a girl?" I said. "I told you. I'll have no males in my house. You'll dress as I tell you. Put on your new underwear." I hesitantly pulled the panties up my legs. She helped me into the bra, and stuffed a pair of panties into each cup. "And this." Arms up. She pulled out a slip and let it slide down my body. I shivered at the soft feel of the lacy garment. She opened the closet and took a short, very full petticoat off a hanger. "Step into this." I tried again to object, but she ignored me, made me place my feet inside the fluffy circle of crinoline, and pulled it up to my waist. She took a black satin dress from the closet and drew it down over my arms and body. The skirt fell to mid-thigh and didn't quite cover the petticoat. "My, aren't you lovely?" my aunt said. "Why are you doing this, Aunt Agatha?" I said. "I'm not a girl, I don't want to dress like one." She slapped my face, hard. "Be quiet. I don't want to hear any more complaints. You're a girl now. In fact, I think I'll change your name. No more Ugly Lance. You'll be Pretty Little Leanne. Lily. Lisa. Yes, Lisa. You're a girl now, and your name is Lisa." "What's your name?" "Lance," I said. She slapped me again. "No, you're not. You're Lisa. What's your name, girl?" I told her what she wanted to hear, hoping it would make her stop. "Lisa," I said. "That's more like it. You're not quite done. Stockings." She handed me a pair of thigh-high stay-ups and showed me how to put them on. Shoes. A pair of black leather pumps with a 2-inch heel. Apron. She tied a lace-trimmed apron tightly around my waist. Cap. A ruffled mob cap over my hair. She had dressed me as a stereotyped French maid. I had lost my visible masculinity and felt utterly humiliated. "Perfect," she said. "Lisa the maid. This is who you'll be while you live here, which I hope will be for a long time." "No," I said, snatching off my cap and throwing it on the floor. I reached behind me to untie my apron, but she grabbed my upper arms and forced me to kneel before her. She drew back her hand to slap me again. I winced and closed my eyes. Nothing happened. I opened my eyes. She lowered her hand. "Lisa, I can beat you into submission. I'd rather not, but I will if you defy me again. From now on I expect you to be a polite, obedient girl. You'll be my maid, you'll do the housework, you'll call me madam, not aunt, and you'll curtsy to me. If you behave perfectly, you won't be punished. Say yes, madam, and curtsy. What choice did I have? Yes, madam. I made a clumsy curtsy. We'll have to work on your deportment, she said. And so began a year of humiliation and mistreatment in Aunt Agatha's house. I wish I'd known then that it wouldn't last forever. The next morning, she drove me to her salon for a makeover. She allowed me to wear my black satin dress without an apron or cap and only one petticoat, so I wouldn't look so much like a maid, but she made me wear 4-inch stilettos with ankle straps to ensure I'd be caught if I tried to run. The salon ladies waxed my whole body, trimmed my collar-length hair into a feminine style, gave me a mani/pedi and did my makeup. I looked much more feminine afterwards, and it made me feel more submissive to my aunt, to madam. She taught me how to do my own hair and makeup, with a salon touch-up every month or so. I cooked all our meals and washed the dishes. I did the laundry and ironing. I mopped and vacuumed the floors. I hand-washed madam's lingerie. I dusted and tidied and kept her house spotless. She grew more demanding as time passed, and eventually I realized that no matter how well I behaved, she would always find fault with me for something. She just wanted an excuse to punish me. When she said I would not be hurt if I behaved, she lied. Slaps to my face. Spankings on my bare bottom, sometimes by hand, sometimes with a paddle or crop, with my skirts raised and panties lowered. Handcuffs. Chained wrists or fettered ankles, to make my chores more difficult and humiliating. A GPS tracking device locked around my wrist, so she could check my location on her cell phone. She liked to dress me in outfits even more embarrassing than my maid's uniforms. Sometimes she wouldn't allow me to wear a dress, just my lingerie and petticoats. Sometimes only panties, bra and a lacy apron. Sometimes just a baby doll nightie with sheer bloomers or no bloomers. All the exterior doors of the house locked in both directions, so I couldn't go outside unless my aunt unlocked the door. The window of my room had bars on it. She locked me into my room at night, so I couldn't use the bathroom next door to my room. Instead, my aunt always diapered me before putting me to bed, a nightly ritual of humiliation that she obviously enjoyed. In the morning, only she could remove my diaper. I wasn't allowed to touch it. On the rare occasions when it was wet, she would put me into a fresh diaper that I had to wear all day instead of panties. I hated my diapering so much that I won't speak of it again. I had little to eat but oatmeal and salad, and no protein except occasional servings of beans and cheese. I was 5'5" and dwindled to 110 pounds. I felt my body weaken and my muscles shrink. I had no hope of rescue. I would be shut in this house and have to serve my aunt forever. I once asked madam if I could wear something besides a maid's uniform. She smiled and made me put on what looked like a 6-year-old girl's pink party dress, with puff sleeves, a Peter Pan collar, a bodice embroidered with flowers, and a poofy skirt over 2 petticoats. I had to wear lace-trimmed ankle socks and Mary Jane shoes. I never complained about my maid's uniform again. A week later, she told me she had entered me in what she called a womanless beauty pageant, a competition for boys dressed as girls. "You've got a nice figure now," she said. She taught me how to walk, stand and turn in a pageant, and told me she'd competed in them at my age. On the day of the pageant, Aunt Agatha took me to the salon for fancy makeup and a puffed-up hairstyle that seemed to consist mostly of hairspray. Back home, I put on my prettiest panty, bra, garter belt and white stockings and tossed on a black uniform dress. She packed a garment bag with a long pink chiffon gown, a slip, petticoats, pantyhose and black patent ballet flats. She drove me to wherever the pageant was taking place and led me across a parking lot and through the back door of an auditorium with a stage. I had to share a dressing room with another boy. My aunt helped me into my dress and touched up my hair and makeup, and his mother or whoever she was did the same to him. He and I were both too embarrassed to speak to each other, even after the 2 women left to join the audience. I lost, of course. It was my first time and I was nervous and had no confidence in myself, and I'm sure it showed. One more humiliation in a life of humiliations. I felt ridiculous and was close to tears as I returned to the dressing room to undress and pack my things. The boy who shared the room saw that I was upset. He patted my hand and changed my life. "Don't cry, it's over now. I lost, too," he said. "Do you hate this as much as I do?" "Yes. My aunt made me. She calls me Lisa. My mom makes me, and calls me Trisha," he said. "I want to get away from her somehow and, well, there's this place where boys can dress however they like, not how their parents make them dress, and no one will laugh at them or punish them." "Really?" I said. Trisha reached into his white patent purse and handed me a little flyer that looked like a quarter sheet of paper, neatly torn along two edges. "I found it on the internet," she said. "I'm not allowed to use the internet," I said. "That's why I printed it out, for boys like you that I meet at pageants." The flyer had a photo of a smiling androgynous teen in a dress, and read, "Loving House, a refuge for mistreated trans youth, food, clothing, shelter, respect. Love. Are you a transgender person under 21 whose life is hell? We can help you. Contact us if you're abused by parents or relatives, bullied or tormented at school, homeless or couch surfing, thinking of harming yourself." There was an internet address and a phone number, 1-800-555-0144. I thrust the flyer into my purse. "Do you know anything about this place?" "I know someone who called them and they saved his life, her life, whatever," Trisha said. Aunt Agatha rapped on my door, telling me it was time to go. I gathered my things and followed her back to the car. As she drove home, she told me she was disappointed by my poor showing, and blamed me for not working hard enough to become a beauty princess. There would be punishment for my failure when we got home, and I would start doing 2 hours of pageant practice every week. Punishment was a week with no panties and ankle shackles with a 10-inch chain. Just because I'd failed to win the first beauty pageant I'd ever seen. It was so unfair. By the time the week ended, I couldn't take it anymore. Shuffling around the house taking tiny steps, my chain clinking on the hard floors, my life was unbearable. I decided to call the number and see what they said. The whole thing could be a scam, but Trisha said Loving House had saved his friend's life. The trick was to get my hands on a phone. I didn't have one. Madam kept hers in her purse, and usually kept her purse within sight. One night, though, she took a bath and left her purse on her bed. I tiptoed into her bedroom and, hardly daring to breathe, pulled her phone out of her purse and tiptoed out of her room. I hurried to my room, closed the door. I'd seen her type her PIN so many times that I had a good idea what the pattern was, and got it on the second try. I pulled the flyer out of my purse and dialed the number. "Loving House," a voice answered. "Is your life in immediate danger?" "And no," I said, taken aback. "My name is Chris. Do you need help?" I couldn't tell if the voice was male or female. "Yes. I'm a boy and my aunt makes me dress as a girl and be her maid. And she punishes me." "Corporal punishment? Does she hurt you?" the voice said. "Yes," I said. "Spanking, slapping, chains, handcuffs. Not enough food. What's your name?" "Lance. Lance Lipbaum. But she calls me Lisa." "Where are you?" I gave the voice Aunt Agatha's address in Queens. "Are you in a house? Can you get outside?" I had to think. My aunt took leisurely baths. If I could borrow her keys, I could unlock the back door, then slip her keys and phone back into her purse before she got out of the tub. I'd just have to hope she didn't notice the door was unlocked. "Yes. I'm checking," the voice said. There was a pause. "We can have a mobile unit pick you up in 3 hours. 10:30 tonight. Can you wait that long?" "Yes." "Be ready to go. You can bring a purse or backpack. Not a suitcase. Don't bother with clothes. You'll hear the squeal of a police siren for 1 second. Come outside and look for a woman in a dark jumpsuit. Go with her. She'll take you to safety." I deleted the call from my aunt's phone, slipped back into her room and returned it to the purse. I gingerly felt in the outside pocket where she usually kept her keys, found them and slid them out without making a noise. I quietly hurried to the back door, unlocked it and silently returned the keys to her purse. I went to my room and had to decide what to bring. I had no electronics or anything else of value. My drawers and closet held only girls' clothing that I hated. I slipped a photo of my parents into my purse and decided to take nothing else. I finished my evening chores and returned to my room, where I killed the remaining time with one of the sappy, predictable romance novels that were practically the only thing my aunt allowed me to read. At 10:25, I took off my cap and apron to make myself look less like a maid, grabbed my purse and quietly went downstairs. It was silent, so I assumed my aunt had retired to her room. I waited by the back door in the darkened kitchen in my maid's dress, petticoats and heels. I wished I had more practical shoes. I was expecting to hear the brief blare of a siren, but was startled anyway when it came. I immediately slipped out the back door, locking it behind me, and hurried down the side yard. I opened the front gate and closed it behind me. It made its usual creaking noise. I should have oiled it earlier. I saw a light go on in my aunt's room. The siren must have woken her. I looked up and down the sidewalk for a woman in a jumpsuit. There she was. She gestured for me to follow and strode quickly down the block to the next corner. I hurried to catch up, clattering in my heels. She unlocked an illegally parked nondescript car and jumped into the driver's seat. I opened the passenger door and scrambled in, for once not worrying about flashing my panties. "You're Lisa Lipbaum, correct?" she asked. I said yes. She started the car, pulled up to the corner, made a legal left turn and drove away from the house, carefully staying just under the speed limit. "You're safe now," she said. "I'm Tanya." "Thank you, Tanya." "Where are you taking me?" "To Loving House," she said. "It's a long drive. Sleep if you can." "What is Loving House?" I asked. I tugged down my satin skirt, trying and failing to cover my petticoats. "It's a place for people like you," she said. "For trans people in difficult circumstances who need help." "I'm not sure I'm a trans person," I said. "I think I'm a boy." Tanya glanced at me and smiled. "You're not exactly dressed like a boy." "Did your aunt, was it, make you dress this way?" "Yes." I left my maid's cap and apron behind. "Do you like how the clothes feel?" "Many boys do." "Well, they're softer and nicer than boys' clothes, but boys aren't supposed to like girls' clothes, is that it?" she said. "Don't worry about it. At Loving House, you can dress any way you like. As a girl, as a boy, as a mix of both. No one will hassle you or make fun of you for it." "That's hard to believe. What kind of place is it?" "Think of it as a deluxe summer camp," Tanya said. "There's a main lodge, some smaller lodges for activities, and a bunch of little cabins, deep in the forest, along a pretty stream. Everyone gets their own small cabin for privacy, but we all have meals together and can do activities with other campers. That's how we refer to people, as campers, not boys or girls." "It sounds nice, but what does it cost?" "I don't have any money." "It's free if you're a trans person who's been mistreated," she said. "If you're not trans or haven't been mistreated, we won't charge you, but we won't let you stay. We're treating abused individuals and don't appreciate spectators." "How can all this be free?" I asked. "We have patrons," she said. "Very wealthy and generous individuals, some of whom are trans and in the closet. Loving House is a 501(c)(4) organization, so we don't have to disclose who they are." "Is this the only Loving House camp?" "No. We don't say how many there are or where. We're expanding quickly, though." "What am I supposed to do here?" "The purpose of the camp is to help you recover from PTSD. Post-traumatic stress disorder," she said. "Do I have PTSD?" "Almost certainly, if you told Chris the truth on the phone. You've been forced to crossdress, instead of being given the choice. You've been humiliated and forced to adopt a new identity. You've been brutally beaten for no reason. Was your aunt holding you captive? I wasn't allowed outside for a year, except once a month for beauty treatments." "You poor thing." You'll see a psychologist who will make a diagnosis and prescription, but you sound like a perfect candidate for treatment. How many other campers are there? Up to 100 per camp. They're organized in what we call circles, because when they meet, they sit in a circle instead of lines or rows. Circles? Gays. Lesbians. Non-binary individuals. Males who identify as females. Females who identify as males. Crossdressers, who I think are all male. You might be in that circle. You don't look like a neat fit with any of the others. Any other flavor of trans with enough campers to form a circle, for example, genetic males considering breast enlargement. I wonder if there are enough boys who were forced to be girls to form a new circle. What do circles do? You'll see. They're a social unit, like a fraternity or sorority without hazing or any of the other Greek crap. They often eat together, though it's optional. They do activities together, dance competitions, fashion shows, movie nights. They lead to friendships and sometimes to romance, which is fine as long as it's consensual. She paused before continuing. There's a little town nearby called Lovington that's home to a number of LGBTQ people, and circles sometimes go there to shop or have a drink or dinner. There's a gay bar and a lesbian bar, and a couple of nice little bistros that cater to everyone, and more cute dress shops than you'd expect in a town of this size. There's also a locals-only bar, the Poor House, that you'll want to avoid. I silently digested all this. It seemed too good to be true. I'd escaped from my aunt, who would have no idea where I was. I would have a private cabin of my own. I'd be part of a circle in which I could make friends who wouldn't judge me or mock me. I would get to talk to a psychologist. I would be treated for the ordeal I'd been through. At one point I broke down in tears from all the emotions I was feeling: relief, fear, hope, pain, embarrassment, disbelief. Tanya just kept on driving, saying only that there were tissues in the glove compartment. I blotted my eyes. The eyeliner and mascara on the tissue told me I must look a fright. I almost took out my compact to check my damage, but decided to resist the feminine habits and gestures I'd picked up in my year as a maid. It was harder than I thought. Tanya drove north to Albany and then headed west into lovely hill country, eventually turning onto local roads. We passed through the twee little town of Lovington in a lovely valley of oaks and maples and turned onto a graveled side road that crossed a stream, sparkling in the moonlight, on an old stone bridge. After passing through more forest, the road ended in a clearing where I had my first view of Loving House. It was 1 in the morning, and under an almost full moon, the camp was painted in shades of silver and black. The clearing was dominated by a large log-in fieldstone lodge, the main hall that Tanya mentioned. Set back in the surrounding trees were several smaller buildings of the same style. Trails ran outward from the lodge and disappeared into the woods, presumably leading to the cabins. Tanya parked in a graveled area in front of the lodge. The lodge will be closed. I'll take you straight to your cabin so you can sleep, and we'll get you registered in the morning. Wait for someone to come for you, probably not me. I followed her down one of the forest paths, past the first 2 cabins I saw, to a third cabin nestled in the trees. Tanya pulled a key out of her pocket, unlocked the door and turned on a light inside. I followed her. It was country cabin cute, with log walls, overhead beams and artful log furniture that proved to be quite comfortable. It was large enough to have a queen-sized bed, a small table with 2 chairs, a chest of drawers and a small vanity and stool. Doors opened into a small walk-in closet and a cozy bathroom with a sink, toilet and clawfoot tub with a shower head and curtain. You'll find nightwear in the closet. We'll get you other clothes tomorrow. Good night, Lisa. The name fits you when you're dressed like that. Welcome to Loving House. Tanya handed me the key and closed the door behind her. I flopped down into one of the chairs, exhausted but too keyed up to sleep. I took off my heels and stockings, and decided to see what nightwear there was. The closet held 2 options, a pretty baby blue ankle-length nylon nightgown, and a pair of women's satin pajamas in the same color, with a royal blue satin collar and cuffs. I happily took off my maid's dress, petticoats, panties and bra, pulled on the pajamas, climbed into bed, comfortable, and quickly fell asleep. I slept late the next morning. A knock at the door woke me up. On the doorstep stood a pretty brunette with an athletic figure, wearing a cute sundress with a square bodice and wide straps. "Hi, I'm Sarah," she said. She had a cute but unfamiliar accent. "I'm going to be what we call your big sister, to help you get started at Loving House. Let's get you dressed. I've brought you 2 outfits to choose from." She held up a garment bag. I invited her in. She laid the bag on the bed and opened it. It held 2 outfits. One was quite feminine, a dress with a full skirt that fell below the knees, with panties, bra, breast forms, a slip and a petticoat, and black pumps. The other was almost androgynous, a pair of cream-colored culottes, a scoop neck tee with cap sleeves in soft mint green cotton, a pair of plain panties and a training bra, and flat sandals. "Both of these are for girls," I said. "Boys can wear shorts and tees and sandals," she said. "Not like those. Not with panties and a bra. They're boy-cut briefs with no Y-front," she said. "Then why are they size 7? Boys' underwear doesn't come in size 7. And I don't need a bra." Sarah sighed with what might have been exasperation. "Here's the thing, Lisa. You said you feel like a boy and you like girls, but we're forced to dress like a girl. You're not gay, lesbian or transgender, so we assigned you to the crossdresser circle. Most of the boys in crossdressers were mistreated because they wanted to wear girls' clothing and were punished for it. You suffered the opposite. You were forced to dress and live as a girl and were punished if you resisted. That's actually a rare situation, despite what you read in stories, and we don't have a circle for it. So you've dumped me in with the crossdressers?" "I wouldn't say dumped. I'm one of them." "Really? I never would have guessed." She looked entirely female to me. She made a small and possibly ironic curtsy. "Thanks for the compliment. Look, you're a boy with a girl's name, you're accustomed to wearing girls' clothes, and Tanya said you think they're softer and nicer than boys' clothes." "I agree. We'll teach you to appreciate them. Later, I'll take you to wardrobe, where Emily and I will help you identify your personal style and find the right clothes to express it." "Does wardrobe have regular boys' clothes?" "Only for the gay circle, or for girls who want to present as boys, and there isn't much selection. Those who want them will do better to shop in Lovington." "Well, all right, I'll wear the plain outfit." "As you wish," said Sarah. "I'll just hang the other outfit in your closet so that it's there if you want it. It's so pretty. I'll wait outside while you dress." I took off the satin pajamas and pulled on the plain panty. I reluctantly added the training bra to prevent a rebuke from Sarah and put on the culottes, top and sandals. I looked at myself in the mirror and decided I looked more like a girl than a boy, thanks in large part to my long hair and feminine haircut. Maybe I could get it cut short. I opened the door. "Ready?" I said. "No," Sarah said. "We need to do your hair and face." She took me into the bathroom, which became very cozy with the 2 of us in it. She brushed my hair and tied it into a high ponytail with a ribbon bow that matched my top, making me look even more feminine. She opened one of the lipsticks on the counter. "Oh, I don't want makeup," I said. "I had to wear it at my aunt's house." "Our circle frowns on naked faces," she said. "Lipstick at least. This light pink doesn't stand out on your skin." She quickly applied a coat. "And now your nails. They have to match your lips." "Do I really have to wear nail polish?" "Lots of real girls don't." "Yes, but you're not a real girl. You're a crossdresser circle girl. Campers will notice bare nails. The color won't stand out." She quickly brushed on a coat of enamel and had me waggle my fingers until it dried. She explained that when I had more time, I should wear 4 coats of nail polish, a base coat, 2 colored coats and a clear top coat. I looked at myself in the mirror. My look wasn't as humiliating as what Aunt Agatha made me wear, but it was in no way manly. I wondered if this was therapeutic. Maybe they would restore my male identity gradually, rather than all at once. "There. You look fine for now," she said. "Let's go to breakfast. I'll introduce you to our circle." The floor of the main lodge was sprinkled with round tables encircled by chairs, of which maybe half were occupied by a wild variety of people having breakfast. The food looked and smelled wonderful. Sarah identified the circles as we passed them. Gay circle and lesbian circle, some of whose campers were visibly butch or femme. Transgender men and women, divided into a circle of those who took hormones or had surgery and a circle of those who didn't. Non-binary individuals. A small circle of adult babies and little girls of both sexes. And the crossdresser circle, all of whom appeared to be genetic males dressed as girls, women, or maids. Only a couple of the crossdressers wore androgynous attire like mine, women's trousers, shorts, culottes or skirts, with plain shirts or tops, and while I wouldn't want to body shame anyone, they were the taller, more mannish, less attractive boy girls. With my short, slender body, delicate features and small hands and feet, I wasn't like them. Sarah introduced me as Lisa, not Lance, and had me take a seat. She named the ladies of the circle, all of whom used female names. Sharonda, Melody, Louisa, Teen, Ludmila. I wouldn't remember them the first time, and would be embarrassed to ask again later. Sharonda, a gorgeous young lady of African heritage in a yellow day dress with a sash that tied in back, spoke up. Lisa, you're really cute, and with that figure you could wear anything. Don't you want to dress up a bit more? It's complicated, I said. We've got all day and we're all ears, honey, Sharonda said. I told them my story of being an ordinary boy forced to dress as a maid and serve my aunt. It stirred a great deal of discussion around the table. Some of the girls, that's how they referred to themselves, and I had trouble thinking of them as boys, were sympathetic. Others, including most of the ones wearing maids' uniforms, were jealous and would have traded places with me. I told them I'd spared them the worst details of how I was treated. Sarah was puzzled, or pretended to be. So, Lisa, you dressed as a maid for a year, and you really didn't like the clothes? You didn't like wearing panties? Well, yes, panties are softer and nicer than boys' underwear, I admitted. What about a bra? Sarah said. Didn't your maid's dress look better with full cups? Well, yes, any dress would, but it was humiliating. I don't like wearing a bra. No one in her right mind likes wearing a bra, honey, Sharonda said, and the other girls laughed. A couple of the frillier girls promptly said they loved wearing bras, and Sharonda said that was because they weren't in their right minds, and there was more laughter and chatter. Was there anything about wearing a dress that you liked? Sarah said. It's embarrassing, I said, feeling my face turn pink, but after a while, I did kind of like the feeling of skirts swishing around my legs in stockings. It felt nice. But girls' clothes are too complicated. Boys' clothes are so much more practical. What does practical have to do with clothes? Sharonda said. More laughter. Did you wear heels? Yes, and I hated them, I said. They hurt. Though they did make my legs look good. That got a laugh, which helped me relax a bit. It was strange. Here I was, chatting with a bunch of males who'd suffered because they liked wearing girls' clothes, which I didn't, or so I'd insisted. None of them seemed downtrodden, suppressed, afraid, or in pain. They seemed happy and relaxed. In my year as a maid, I'd never known happiness, and here it seemed to be all around me. I wondered if it was real or feigned. Were they trying to get me to betray myself somehow? Was this all a pretense? Was there a hidden side to Loving House? Sarah raised her voice. Lisa, she said, as your big sister, I've decided to take on a quest. I could hear the capital Q in her voice. The other voices around the table quieted. My quest, she said, is to bring you from the dark side, with your frumpy culottes and t-shirts, to the bright side, with pretty dresses and heels. I'm going to turn you into a girly girl, Lisa, and I'm going to do it without laying a finger on you or making you do anything you don't want to do. Some of the girls oohed and awed and giggled. But I don't want to be a girly girl, Sarah, I said. For some reason, this, too, drew a laugh. That's why it's a quest, she said, and our circle sisters cheered her on. I expected trouble. expected that Sarah and the circle would find a way to doll me up as a girl without actually using physical force. They didn't. Nothing happened. Instead, I chose to stay in my culottes and tees, and Sarah obligingly brought me more, enough to get through a week without doing laundry. People just let me be, and I felt like I was on a wonderful vacation in a beautiful forest. I had my own little cabin, close enough to Loving Brook to hear it burble and gurgle. A short walk up to the main lodge for fresh, well-cooked meals from a diverse menu. A small but select camp library with physical and digital books and videos. Classes I could sign up for, held at Loving House or in Lovington: auto repair, computer science, cooking, cell phone movie making, sewing, social dancing, yoga, 3D printing, you name it. I couldn't believe I had it so good. Sarah invited me to what she called a play date at her cabin and said I could dress however I liked. I chose my usual boring semi-feminine outerwear, but this time I wore pretty matching panties and a bra, just in case. Of what? Not sex. Sarah was a boy, but for some reason I wanted to be pretty under my clothes. I even wore the breast forms. Damn! I'd been trained, brainwashed by Aunt Agatha, to live and dress as a girl. I had escaped from her, but she still seemed to control my brain. I wondered what Sarah meant by play date. What would we play? I didn't know any girls' games. Hi, Lisa. Sarah let me in. She was wearing a lovely yellow and white A-line dress, nothing too frilly. I complimented her on it, and she admired my hair. She didn't mention my new bosom. Her cabin was awesome. She'd painted the log walls and plank ceiling a pretty shade of ivory, making the space brighter and seem larger. She'd removed the closet doors, so that her entire and extremely colorful wardrobe was visible, and she'd replaced her dresser with open shelves where she stored all her underwear, hosiery, shoes, jewelry, and accessories out in plain sight. Her things filled the room with color. My clothes are my favorite things in the world, so I like to surround myself with them, she said. Doesn't it bother you to have your panties and bras out in the open? Why should it? They're all pretty. No one at Loving House is going to mind, or show it if they do mind. Most campers think it's funny, or want a set in their size. Is this place really that nice? She cocked her head at me. How do you mean, nice? I shrugged. It's like heaven here. Everyone's so nice to each other. Everyone's so polite. No arguments, no fights, no violence. No punishments. It's a life I don't recognize. I choked up. What did I do to deserve this? Lisa, you suffered the death of your parents and survived a year of torture. No one deserves Loving House more than you do. You have so much pain inside you, you need to let it out, let go of it. She hesitated. Can I give you a hug? My composure crumpled. Please. I cried, remembering what I'd escaped, bitterly regretting the loss of a year of my life. Sarah hugged me and said soothing words that made me cry even harder. I tried to apologize, and she told me to hush, and in time I subsided, comforted by her touch. I didn't feel a sexual attraction to her, well, not a strong one, and instead hoped we would become friends, close friends, girlfriends. When I was calm, she let me go. Do you feel any better? Yes, I said, and hiccuped. She laughed. Oh, curse! I had the hiccups, and each one made her laugh again until there were tears in her eyes, too. Do you want to play a game? She said. Oh. What kind of game? I call it the ugliest outfit contest, she said. She waved a hand at the dresses and skirts and tops and petticoats that threatened to overflow her closet. You tell me what items in my closet I should put on, and the goal is to create the ugliest outfit. We'll take a selfie of each outfit, and then look at them and decide which is the ugliest. So, I choose what you wear? She nodded. Okay, I said, let's start with. I selected things almost at random. Clashing styles, clashing colors. I started handing things to her. A schoolgirl's mostly blue plaid skirt. A red crinoline petticoat half again as long as the skirt. A sheer pink chiffon blouse, with a purple bra from her shelf on top of it, and over that an open peach-colored peplum blazer. I found a silk scarf in orange and green, a tiger in a jungle, and draped it around her neck in the least attractive way I could. A mismatched pair of semi-sheer trouser socks, one maroon and one teal, and a pair of hiking shoes with lavender accents. Sarah looked at herself in the mirror, and we both laughed at how ugly her outfit was. I took a few pictures on her phone. "Okay," she said, "next outfit." She took off all of the clothes and hung them up nicely, and stood before me in her bra and panties, waiting. This time, I chose a pair of tailored pearl gray cashmere trousers over colorfully decorated cowgirl boots, with a yellow and purple flowered sundress over that, a hip-length red lace vest over the dress, and a tight baby blue cardigan on top of the vest, and a bikini top in a tropical print on top of the cardigan. Oh, it was so ugly! I chose a clashing silk scarf, folded it diagonally, draped it over her hair and tied it under her chin, instantly making her look 20 years older. Turned her around so she could see herself in the mirror. She added too much bright red lipstick, and we laughed and laughed. We kept this up for about an hour, with her outfits getting ghastlier and ghastlier. I was having fun handling the clothes, pulling them out and handing them to her. I was having fun exploring all the stuff in her closet. I had particular fun mixing ballet wear with a cat costume to make Sarah a kitty with a tail peeking out from under her tutu. She was almost unbearably cute. I loved her accent. "Sarah," I asked, "were you born here?" "No," she said. "I'm from Israel. I was an unarmed combat trainer in the Israeli army. I came out as a crossdresser when I was a Samel Rishon, a master sergeant, and I wore a uniform skirt for most of my last 8 months in service. I underestimated how certain people would react and had some bad experiences. After one particularly nasty incident, I was excused from further service and contacted Loving House." "Wow," I said. "You were a soldier?" She struck a sexy pose and batted her eyelashes at me. "I could kill you with my bare hands," she said. "But I won't, because you're too cute. Now it's your turn to play." I felt a jolt of fear. "No!" I cried, drawing back. I couldn't let her humiliate me in girls' clothes. I disliked my culottes and top, but the frilly things in her closet would be even worse. "Why not, Lisa? It'll be fun. You'll make me look ridiculous and laugh at me. I'll be too embarrassed." "Yes. That's the point," she said. "It's fun to look ridiculous and laugh. It's just us. No one else can see you. Please, please. You said you wouldn't make me do anything I didn't to do. And I won't. But I want you to want to do this. I'll choose clothes that are fun to wear, and I won't make you look ridiculous. You'll feel soft and beautiful, and then I'll make you wear one silly thing. Wearing a silly outfit won't make you a girly girl. Come on, say yes to having fun. Just this once." She was right. I needed to try new experiences here, see the world from different perspectives. I should say yes to having fun. "All right," I said. "I'll do it." Sarah grinned. "That's my Lisa. Okay, strip down to your panties and bra." I undressed, glad that I'd decided to wear fancier, more feminine underwear, and then wondering why I was glad, and realizing that what I really wanted was Sarah's approval. She was my big sister, and I wanted to impress her. And I did. "Oh, don't you look nice?" She went to her closet and shelves and collected the pieces of my costume. They looked suspiciously tasteful. She handed me things and told me to put them on. A garter belt and nude stockings. She told me to run the garters under the panties. 3-inch black patent pointy-toed stilettos. A full slip, with gorgeous lace detail at the bust line and hem. 2 rustling white petticoats, one of crinoline and one of taffeta. A calf-length cocktail dress in dusty rose silk with a tailored bodice, a modest shawl collar and a full skirt that settled beautifully over the petticoats. A string of pearls around my neck and another around my right wrist. A silk chiffon shawl that matched the dress. Red lipstick and a touch of eyeshadow. She turned me around to see the mirror. I looked fabulous. I looked ready to go out to a fancy nightclub a lifetime ago and dance the night away on the arms of a handsome gent in an absolutely traditional tuxedo, or a lovely woman in a dress like Sarah's. I lose, I said. This is a complete fail in the ugly outfit contest. You've made me look beautiful, she said. I wasn't going to say it. Well, you are, she said. And we need to make you ugly. How about my horror hat? From the back of a top shelf she pulled out a lumpy, misshapen slouch hat in hideous clashing colors and ugly patterns, decorated with two ugly giant buttons that served no purpose. It looked like it was made to fit the head not of a human, but of the monster in the old movie Alien. When I put on, I quickly found it was too big and had to tuck it behind my ears to keep it from falling over my face. Wow, I said. I'm back in the running for ugliest. If I was just wearing big clunky boots. Sarah laughed. You're taking this so well, Lisa. I'm really impressed. I mean, here I've dressed you completely as a woman, which was one of the traumas you suffered, and you're lovely and calm and presenting yourself perfectly. Except you need makeup and perfume. I hadn't thought about that. Sarah had gotten me to put on a very feminine dress with all the underpinnings, the exact same thing that Aunt Agatha had done, and yet the outcome was completely different. I was happy, not sad. You know what I think, she said. You're enjoying it, you're finally feeling free enough to enjoy it, because we did it as a game to amuse you, a game between girlfriends, she said. Not to dominate you, humiliate you, punish you. The context is everything. I wasn't sure what to say. She was what girls usually were, a step ahead of me the whole way. She was leading me toward, what? Not a brutal reduction to servile status. She was leading me toward some kind of acceptance of what had been done to me, a discovery of gentle pleasure in what had been a brutal imposition, a replacement of fear and pain by playfulness and laughter. I swished my skirts around my hips, enjoying the frou-frou sound of the dress sliding over the petticoats. Well, what do you think, Lisa? She said. Being a girly girl isn't all bad, is it? I found myself breathing hard, and tried to calm myself. My penis stiffened for the first time at Loving House. And no, I said. It's. Take off that stupid hat. I tossed it on the floor. So pretty, she said. She kissed me lightly on the lips. I didn't know how to react. She took a step back and looked me over. What did your psychologist tell you? She said. What psychologist? Sarah gaped at me. What, you haven't seen a shrink yet? Someone messed up. We need to fix that right away, she said. You need to be diagnosed and have a prescription. She walked me up to the administrative offices on the second floor of the main hall and explained the error to the receptionist, who seemed shocked at the oversight. 10 minutes later, I had an appointment to see a psychologist the next morning. Hi, Lisa, said the middle-aged female, a real one, I'm pretty sure in a not terribly flattering skirt suit. I'm Dr. Stephanie. Why do you think you're here? To evaluate me for PTSD? I said. No, we're pretty sure you have it. The question is whether you're trans or not. On the surface, you appear to be a heterosexual male who was feminized, resisted it, and was treated very badly. We usually help only trans people. I saw immediately what I must do to avoid being expelled from Loving House. I have to confess, doctor, I was only pretending to resist, I said. I was too ashamed to admit it to my aunt, but I like girls' clothes. I like wearing them, but when I do, I feel guilty and bad, as if I deserve to be punished. Oh, said Dr. Stephanie. That changes things. Why couldn't you admit it to your aunt? My mind raced. I was afraid of what she might do. If I told her I liked women's clothes, she might have dressed me as a baby or something. Do you like the idea of being dressed up as a baby, Lisa? No. How would you dress up, if you could? What do you like? What don't you like? I had to think. I needed to convince her I was a crossdresser. I hated most of my maid's uniforms because they were too short and tight. If I bent over, You could see my panties. Girls shouldn't have to dress to show off their underwear. Do you like longer, fuller skirts? Yes. She made a note. Did you wear a petticoat? Yes. I had one uniform with a fuller skirt, and the petticoat made it more modest. Did you like how it felt? Yes, it was soft and swirly, but too short. What else? I don't like high heels. They hurt. She smiled. Another note. What about tops? Do you like them loose or snug? I thought of the maid's dresses I'd worn. I guess I'm used to snug tops. Not sleeveless, it's not a good look. Not cut too low, because my boobs are fake. I don't like high collars or long sleeves. Little puffy sleeves are for little girls. I guess I like cap sleeves best. They don't call attention to my shoulders. She asked me a bunch of questions about how my aunt had treated me. Some of them made me squirm, but she seemed satisfied with my answers. Well, Lisa, welcome to Loving House, she said. I'm going to prescribe a 1-year stay for you, with an option to renew if needed. It tells me a great deal that you were so afraid of your aunt's transphobia that you pretended to hate dressing up, even though she punished you for it. That's an interesting twist on the usual scenarios and might be worth a paper someday. I hoped not. You're definitely in the right circle, she said. You should feel free to express the femininity inside you by dressing as your heart desires. You don't have to hide or lie anymore. You might enjoy dropping by wardrobe and picking up some prettier things to wear. Your big sister can arrange it. My demons returned. I choked up, fought not to cry. Dr. Stephanie? Yes, Lisa? I'm afraid. Afraid of Loving House. Her eyebrows rose. Why? I don't know. It just seems too perfect. I keep waiting for something to ruin it for me. Like discovering that I can stay in my cabin, but only if I give blowjobs to paying customers, or I'm going to be publicly spanked or humiliated somehow in front of all the campers, or I'll be put back in a maid's uniform and forced to scrub pots and floors again. I can't believe I'm somehow so lucky that I can live somewhere nice like this. I'm just not worth it. Oh, Lisa, Dr. Stephanie said. Of course you're worth it. Loving House is exactly what it looks like, a place where trans people who've been treated badly can find food, clothing, shelter, respect and love. You need all those, but you also need time. So far, we've stopped your suffering and given you a place where you can heal, but you haven't started to heal yet. Healing takes time, and we'll give you the time. A year to start with, and longer if you need it. She leaned forward. The fears you feel are ghosts from your past. Let them go. There is no dark side here, no beatings, no handcuffs, no hunger, no hate. No one will hurt you. You're among friends now. I wanted to believe her, oh, how I wanted to believe her, and almost succeeded. A hard, dark part of my mind inside still doubted. Nothing bad had happened so far, but in my core I remained wary. Dr. Stephanie scheduled me for twice-weekly counseling sessions with her, and recommended I schedule 2 activities a day, even if one was just lunch with one of the other girls in my circle. She asked me if I knew how to dance and, when I said no, suggested I try social dance lessons. The class would provide a partner of my choice, a boy or a boy dressed as a girl or whatever. I said I'd think about it, and unexpectedly imagined myself wearing a huge ball gown and dancing the girls' steps, being led by Sarah in an olive green army uniform. I shook my head to clear the picture. Sarah dropped by after dinner to ask how my session with the shrink went. I said she prescribed spending a year here with an option to renew and would be seeing me twice a week. She looked impressed and said 6 months was the usual first term. Your stress disorder must be pretty traumatic, she said. She was delighted to hear that Dr. Stephanie suggested I get some prettier clothes. Oh, yes, let's. I'll take you to wardrobe tomorrow. The next morning, she knocked and woke me up too early in the morning to tell me that Emily in wardrobe was free and would love to see me now. She asked me to wear the dress in my closet instead of women's shorts and a tee, did my makeup and put me back into a ponytail tied with a ribbon that matched the dress. When she was satisfied with my look, she walked me up to wardrobe, a small warehouse stuffed full of clothes in the back of the main lodge. It had a tiny men's section that we ignored. Instead, she led me over to dresses, where we met Emily, a statuesque blonde wearing a pretty cotton day dress in a rose print. "Hi, Lisa," Emily said. "Dr. Stephanie told me about your situation and what you told her. I've got some questions for you, and then I'll show you a few things that you might like." "Okay," I said, realizing that I was about to select the female clothes that I would be expected to wear from now on. In my heart, I just wanted to wear boys' jeans and tees, though preferably over panties, which were way nicer than boxers or tidy widdies. But if I did that, I'd be asked to leave Loving House. I would have to dress as a girl from now on. It was the price of being allowed to stay here, and with no money, car, or place to live, I had no choice but to pay it. Emily asked me about colors and styles and confirmed what I told Dr. Stephanie. "You sound like a vintage girl," she said. "Longer, fuller skirts and petticoats, modest bodices, cap sleeves, lower heels, it all fits. Let me get your measurements, and then we'll see what we can find. There's also a cute vintage shop in Lovington, Metro Retro, that you can check out." She and Sarah led me through the dresses in my size and pointed some out as we passed, asking if I liked them. I had to look at them more carefully now, realizing that these would be my clothes from now on and wanting to avoid anything that would be impractical, uncomfortable, or just too feminine. I said no to a little girl's party dress in an adult size, which I think she showed me only to have fun. Eventually we found 5 dresses for me to try on. She sent me into the dressing room to strip down to my slip and wait for her. She came in a few minutes later, carrying 2 petticoats she told me to put on before trying on the dresses. The inner one was puffy and the outer one was slinky, and I blushed as I drew the extremely feminine garments up to my waist. If this was how I would be expected to dress now, I would have to get used to them. I swiveled my hips to see them swirl around me. Emily had me try on each dress in turn and step outside the dressing room to see myself in the 3-way mirror. "Very nice," she said. "It fits you perfectly, and I love how the skirts sway. You'll feel so sexy in it." I reluctantly had to agree. I liked how the clothes felt, the nylon and lace and elastic moving over my body, squeezing me here, lifting me there, slipping and sliding inside my pretty cotton floral print frock. The feeling of petticoats and the skirt of my dress swishing around me when I turned. The sound of my low heels clicking on the cement floor. If I had to start dressing as a woman now, these clothes would be more tolerable than any I'd worn so far. "Now you need a week's worth of lingerie," Sarah said. Armed with my sizes, she and Emily made me pick out panties, bras, slips, stockings, and garter belts. Emily scanned all my purchases, evidently just to track them, since no money changed hands. Sarah selected a complete outfit for me, including new lingerie and the dress she liked best, peach chiffon with a surplus bodice and a many-layered, calf-length skirt floating on an undulating sea of white petticoats. She led me back into the dressing room. "Put this on," she said. I did, and she touched up my makeup and hair. "Twirl," she said. I twirled. "Curtsy," she said. I curtsied. "That dress really becomes you," she said. "You're so pretty, Lisa." I looked at myself in the mirror. I was no longer my aunt's browbeaten maid, cringing in fear of being punished. I was an attractive young woman. I looked like a girl that in other circumstances I would happily date. Smiling, gently swishing my skirts, pleased with myself. "All right," Sarah said. "Let's go hang these dresses up in your closet." "Are we done?" I said. "No tops or skirts or trousers?" "Not this time, love," Sarah said. "Let's get you comfortable in your dresses first. You look so elegant. The other girls are so going to love you like this." The other girls, of course, were the ones in my circle, and in an instant, I realized that Sarah had achieved her quest. She'd turned me into a girly girl. I was wearing brand new lingerie, bouffant petticoats, and a lovely vintage dress, with stockings, a garter belt, and heels. I planned to keep on dressing like this. And she'd done it just as she promised, without laying a finger on me or making me do anything I didn't want to do. Sarah looked into my eyes. I could tell she was conscious of her victory over me, and proud of it. She was so pretty. I had trouble remembering she was a boy. Congratulations on completing your quest, I said, and gave her a deep curtsy, bowing my head as I dipped with my skirts raised. Oh, Lisa, she said. Have I really turned you into a girly girl? If this is what I'll be wearing from now on, I won't be able to deny it. Pretty vintage dresses with petticoats and low heels. I spun on my wheel to make my skirts bell out. No more culottes and skirts, she said, smiling. I snorted. No one wears skirts except lady golfers. I wore my new outfit to dinner that night. Sarah lent me some jewelry, a pearl necklace, bracelet and ring, and lightly misted me with a floral eau de cologne. She escorted me up to the main hall. When we walked up to the crossdresser's table, my circle sisters cheered my changed appearance. I curtsied to them and sat. Looks like our Lisa is turning into a girly girl after all, Sharonda said. Are you, Lisa? Asked Melody. I lowered my eyes. Yes, I said. You'll be wearing dresses all the time now? Said Louisa. Whatever my big sister wants me to wear, I said. That's right, Sarah said. I was a sergeant, remember? I'm going to train you properly, little Tyron. What's a Tyron? Melody said. Raw recruit in Hebrew, Sarah said. Oh, Sharonda said. You'd better obey orders, Lisa, or you'll be subject to military discipline. I endured their good-natured ribbing throughout a wonderful dinner of tiny grilled lamb chops with rosemary, roast sweet potatoes with paprika, and a spinach, cranberry and walnut salad dressed in olive oil and balsamic vinegar. As we were finishing up, Sarah told the table, Ladies, I need your advice. Lisa is afraid of Loving House. Around the table, my sisters expressed dismay. Why? Sharonda turned to me. What's wrong with you, girl? Sarah said, she told me if something seems too good to be true, it is too good to be true. Isn't that right, Lisa? I swallowed. Raised my eyes to look at the other girls. Yes. I keep waiting for the other shoe to drop. I'm afraid there's a dark side to Loving House that I can't see, that something will go wrong, that I'll have to leave with nowhere to go except back to my aunt. No, Lisa, Sharonda said. That's what I thought when I came here. My life was, well, almost as bad as yours. I couldn't believe anyone would offer me the list: food, shelter, clothing, respect and love. That one word, respect. People here always treated me like a person, not like something for the family to be ashamed of. She's right, Lisa, Melody said. There's no dark side. What you see here is what Loving House really is. It took me a long time to accept it, just like you, but this is a good place, a place to heal. Thanks to rich people who are doing something more useful with their money than just playing with it. Teresa and others chimed in with similar sentiments. They all sounded genuine, heartfelt, unrehearsed. I felt a knot deep within me loosen and begin to untie itself. I took a deep breath. Thank you, ladies, I said. As dinner ended, Sarah laid a hand on mine to keep me from rising with the others. In a minute or two, we had the table to ourselves. My big sister looked at me with eyes full of compassion. They're telling you the truth, you know. My lower lip quivered. I'm starting to think they are, I said. Maybe all this really is what it seems to be. I'm just so afraid of being disappointed. Finding happiness at last, and then being hurt again. Don't be afraid, little sister, she said. Loving House is exactly what it seems to be, and for the next year or more, it will be your home while we mend the damage that your aunt did to you. Enjoy it, appreciate it, don't waste energy on fear. You have found happiness. I heaved a great sigh, an exhalation of relief, of tension, of fear, of a glimmer of joy on a distant horizon. Sarah's voice softened. Lisa, I think maybe both of us have found happiness. She took my hands, drew me to her and kissed me. I kissed her back. She wrapped her arms around me. Mine draped themselves around her neck. We kissed again. I knew we both used to be boys. I didn't care. We were both girly girls now. Welcome to loving house, my pretty little Tyron, she said.